You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
If you're building a startup right now, you know the feeling. It's like the entire foundational rulebook for founders has just been thrown into a bonfire.
Yeah, completely.
The assumptions you relied on, last quarter, they might actually be actively hurting you this quarter?
That's exactly it. The speed of these shifts has just crushed conventional wisdom. On this edition of The Vocal Technologist, we're really going to be talking about the new playbook that's sort of emerging from that rubble.
So our mission today is to give you a shortcut, right? We're focusing on where that old SaaS playbook is just completely overturned. We're not talking basics.
No, we're diving into the big shifts, the moats, the money, the muscle. So, product revenue and recruiting.
Let's jump right into the new landscape of intelligence because that seems to be the source of all this volatility.
It is. We've seen a really critical shift over the last year.
For a long time, we talked about AI as, assistive software. It helped a human do their job better.
A co-pilot.
Exactly, a co-pilot. Now we're moving very rapidly toward authoritative software. And that sounds like a small change in words, but the implications are they're massive.
They really are. And what's critical to understand is that the bottleneck for AI isn't intelligence anymore. The models are powerful enough.
The bottleneck is permission.
It's permission.
Yeah.
For software to really become a worker, not just a tool, it needs the authority to execute decisions without a human clicking approve every single time.
Right. So the difference between software that suggests an underwriting policy and software that just does it, it executes the entire thing, issues the contract.
Exactly. And the next wave of value for founders isn't in making the model, 1% smarter. That's a commodity. The value is in building the guardrails, the audit trails.
All the boring stuff that makes it safe.
The stuff that lets an enterprise safely remove the human from the loop.
Yeah.
That is a fundamentally different product challenge.
And this capability, it's accelerating human potential so fast that it's challenging the whole idea of competence. We're seeing tools like Claude Code and what you call the democratization of competence.
It's happening in real time. We're just seeing this sudden, massive acceleration. I mean, think about it. A mid-level engineer today can use these tools and perform like a senior architect.
Wow.
Generating complex system designs that would have taken years of specialized knowledge before.
That's incredibly exciting, but it also means there's going to be an explosion in the sheer amount of software being created. So if intelligence is a commodity, if everyone can do that, what's actually defensible? What's the moat?
You just hit on the most critical takeaway from everything we've looked at. Your model is not your moat.
Say that again?
Your model is not your moat. When intelligence is commoditized, the only truly defensible advantages are proprietary data and, maybe even more importantly, deep workflow integration.
So if I'm just putting a chat interface on top of a company's data, I'm building a wrapper, not a moat.
You're just a text box. You're easily replaced. The winning design pattern is a system that absorbs a messy, complex human workflow, all the emails, the spreadsheets, the back and forth, and just makes it invisible.
That's real integration, and that's what makes a customer sticky.
Absolutely. And we're seeing this intelligence pop up in areas we used to think were impossible to automate, like sales intelligence.
Go-to-market strategy, you mean, like win-loss analysis.
Exactly. It's so high leverage, but it's almost impossible to do well manually. Buyers don't tell you the whole truth. Sellers have blind spots.
Oh, it's a nightmare. You can spend months trying to figure out why you lost a couple of big deals.
Right. But AI is starting to solve this by just reconstructing insight from the data you already have. You can feed thousands of sales call transcripts from, say, Gong into a custom GPT.
And it does more than just summarize.
So much more. It surfaces patterns across dozens of deals at once. It can tell you which specific feature objection or pricing hesitation correlated with the deals you lost. It's faster than any human could ever be.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Let's transition now to the other thing AI has completely shattered, which is how we charge people for software.
The end of easy pricing. For 20 years, SaaS was simple, right? Count the humans, multiply by $30 a month. Done.
Predictable revenue. The per-seat model worked because you were licensing a tool for a human worker.
But the entire goal of modern AI is to reduce the number of humans needed. So if your software eliminates 3 jobs, why would a company pay you for 3 licenses?
The model just collapses on itself.
It does. It forces us back to this complex, value-based era.
And what's replacing it? The fastest growing model right now seems to be credit-based pricing. The growth projections are wild, something like up 126% in 2025.
They are, and it's because it kind of splits the difference.
What do you mean? Isn't it just usage-based pricing with a different name?
Not quite. Pure usage is terrifying for a customer. You get that surprise bill at the end of the month and panic. Credits let the customer budget. They pre-purchase a package, so they have cost certainty.
And for the vendor.
It protects your margins. When GPU costs are fluctuating like crazy, you're killing credits tied to the value you deliver, not just the raw compute time you used.
That flexibility makes sense. So everyone's been predicting the death of the per-seat model, but it feels more like an evolution, not an extinction.
It's absolutely evolving. It's getting much more nuanced. Look at companies like OpenAI or Figma. They don't just count heads. A seat is tied to a specific capability tier.
So the seat becomes a gateway to the most valuable features.
Exactly. And we're even seeing creative solutions like Salesforce letting customers swap unused human licenses for AI credits. It's a direct acknowledgement that the investment is moving from human labor to automation.
The takeaway here seems to be that nobody really knows what AI is worth yet. So the winners are offering multiple ways to pay. Flexibility is the key.
Precisely.
That continuous change leads right into growth strategy. If everything is resetting every few months, what's the one lever a founder needs to pull?
The findings are overwhelmingly clear on this. Speed is the only moat right now. We're seeing high-growth companies where their product market fit actually resets every 3 months, even past 200 million in ARR. User expectations just shift too quickly.
That completely changes where you put your resources. You can't spend 3 months polishing every little edge case. But that goes against the classic growth playbook of, A/B testing the funnel.
It does. And that conventional wisdom is deadly right now. The data suggests something like 95% of growth comes from shipping new features, new products. Funnel optimization is like 5%.
That is a staggering difference.
It forces you to prioritize velocity over polish, which raises a huge question.
Which is?
Where does all that technical debt land, and is that sustainable? But the fastest movers are finding that the cost of not shipping is higher than the cost of the debt later, which connects right into the idea of focus.
And you have a great definition for this. It's not just prioritizing.
No. Focus is the active destruction of options.
I love that framing. So what does that look like day to day for a founder?
It's ruthless. It means, for example, saying no to a bad fit customer, because accepting them destroys your option value. That one wrong client eats up all the resources you needed to find 3 good ones.
So stop trying to improve every metric by 1%.
Yes. Actively destroy the options that waste your time so you can improve the single most important metric by 30%. That's what breaks you through a plateau.
Speaking of underrated strategies, let's talk about press. Founders obsess over TechCrunch, but you're saying local press is an incredible undervalued tool.
It's so counterintuitive, but it's powerful. Founders almost never ask about a local press strategy, and it's a huge missed opportunity if you sell to non-technical professionals.
Like small business owners or educators.
Exactly. Why does the Boston Globe outperform a national tech blog for that audience?
I'm guessing it's the network.
It's the network. Local stories spread like wildfire on platforms like Facebook and neighborhood groups.
Yeah.
A local journalist doesn't need proof that you matter to Silicon Valley. They just need proof that you matter to their city.
So they only care if you matter to their zip code. It's a totally different virality mechanism.
It's speed and focus applied to media. You find the local customer who loves you, you hear their story, and you pitch that local angle. It cuts right through.
We see that kind of focus in some incredible case studies, none more dramatic than Base 44. That $80 million exit is just wild.
Base 44 is the ultimate velocity story. I mean, founding to an $80 million exit in 6 months. All cash.
How?
The founder bootstrapped the whole thing using AI to generate in nearly 100% of the front-end code.
100% of the front end. That's unheard of.
And that freed him up to focus entirely on one thing.
Yeah.
The magic moment. His only goal was getting a user from zero to a working custom app from a text prompt in under 60 seconds.
That obsession over the first minute is what got them to $3.5 million ARR with zero ad spend. It's the power of prototyping and hyperfocus.
Exactly. They accepted all the technical debt in exchange for speed because speed was the only thing that mattered, which of course brings us to the human element, hiring.
Right. If speed is the moat, you need builders, not experts.
Which means you need the anti-expert framework. You have to stop hiring for expertise first. We've all seen that polished resume from a big tech company who comes in and just can't ship anything.
It happens all the time.
So the effective framework is you evaluate drive first, then potential, and only then do you look at expertise. Drive is the engine. You can't coach it. Expertise without drive just gets you well-reasoned excuses for why something can't be done.
That's a perfect way to put it. But how do you test for drive? In an interview, I mean.
You get away from the resume. You ask behavioral questions about obsession. Ask them what they've obsessed over outside of work, a hobby, a project, anything. Ask when the hardest they've ever worked on anything was.
And if they've never been deeply consumed by something?
They're not going to suddenly become consumed by your company's mission. You're just looking for proof that the internal motor exists.
And AI leverage is changing the team structure itself. You call it the solo founder flippening.
The rise is undeniable. A third of all startups launched in 2025 were solo-founded. That's a 53% increase since 2019. AI tools let one person handle the scope that used to take a team of 3.
It is worth noting, though, that VCs still fund co-founder pairs at double the rate. But if you are looking for that technical partner, the advice is clear. They convert on momentum, not vision.
Pitching an idea is useless. The best technical people are flooded with ideas. You need to pitch traction. I've secured paid customers. I have partnerships lined up. Here's a working prototype with real users.
You're recruiting them to scale something that already works. You're not asking them to start from zero.
Exactly. You give them momentum to latch onto. It de-risks the whole proposition for them.
Which brings us to what might be the single most important skill for the next decade.
I think it is, and that skill is agency.
Define that.
Agency is the ability to act, iterate, and adapt without permission. High agency people treat life like an experiment. They see AI not as a crutch, but as an amplifier, and they integrate it immediately. They don't wait for a course, they just build.
So if we pull all this together, the pricing shifts, velocity overpolish, the destruction of options, hiring for agency, it all points to this fundamental shift in how we define value in the AI economy.
It does. But there's one final crucial piece about adoption that can undercut even the best strategy. Better technology often loses to organizational fear. We call it the lasers, AI, and inertia principle.
Okay, I love this. Tell me the story.
At SpaceX, they brought in handheld laser welders. Objectively superior technology for certain tasks, but they sat on a shelf gathering dust for months.
Why?
The engineers were paralyzed, not by the tech, but by the career risk of trying something new and failing. They were afraid of the professional consequences if they messed up on the assembly line.
So the friction was purely human.
Pure inertia, born of fear. Adoption only happened when the pain of staying the same, the massive production backlog, finally outweighed the friction of switching. The discomfort of today had to exceed the fear of tomorrow.
And that applies directly to AI adoption in big companies. Success for founders isn't just about having the best model. It's about finding those pressure points where the fear of doing nothing finally exceeds the fear of change.
That's the missing link. You have to find what your customers can't afford to ignore anymore.
So we'll leave you with this final thought to explore on your own. Think about your own organization or the problem you're trying to solve. What is the laser welder, that objectively superior tool or workflow that's just gathering dust right now? And what specific fear, internal or external, is preventing you from picking it up? Finding that fear is finding your next point of exponential growth.
Spoken Tech for your ears.